Okay.
He made the statement, I'll paraphrase, but he said, we're addressing the agenda, the purpose of CERN, he said, you do not want to open this interdimensional gateway because you don't know what's going to come through.
So would he have been? Would you call him a critic of the program?
I would, in the sense of their goal of disturbing the fabric of space.
Right.
Because he said that if we are able to tear the veil, to go to the hadron, the God particle, I'm sorry, I'm losing the track. The God particle being a hadron, being a particle that they were trying to achieve the discovery of through the collision of particles. He said that...
Is that particle called the hadron?
Well, that it is a particle, the God particle. I'm losing my train of thought there for a moment.
Let's just suspend that for a moment.
Yeah, Higgs boson. Sorry, got a lot swirling in the head.
So
the Higgs boson...
Oh, yes, right.
They allegedly discovered this in the latter part of 2012 and into 2013. He said that if you disturb the Higgs field, which is part of this Higgs boson scenario, you could disturb that enough that you would create vacuums, a vacuum bubble that would envelop at the speed of light, not only this planet, but in the entire universe. Now, this is coming from an eminent scientist, mainstream scientist who's saying this.
Who's an atheist.
He's an atheist.
Right.
Now, that hasn't happened. It hasn't played out yet since the discovery of the Higgs boson, and I apologize for the lapse, but what he is addressing is this rift, this opening of this portal, this interdimensional gateway, because he recognizes that there are entities on the other side that should not be in our realm, that barrier needs to be maintained.
Wait. Stephen Hawking recognizes that there are entities?
Yes.
And did he use the word entities or a similar word?
He uses unknown energies.
Unknown energies.
Right.
But he's referring to entities.
In our parlance.
Okay, in our parlance. So he's concerned about unwanted visitors, a home invasion, if you will, from another dimension by entities.
That's correct. He's not the only one that's raised that issue.
Okay.
Not necessarily vacuum bubbles, but this communication and this opening. So there are enough atheist-oriented scientists out there who've been suppressed, but you can find their statements on the internet. This isn't conspiracy theorist origin. These are mainstream people who are saying, we really shouldn't do this. In fact, the director said,
the director of the Hadron Collider program.
Of the Large Hadron Collider, as I said earlier, said, we don't really know what's going to happen when we open this portal, but we're going to try anyway. We're going to do it anyway.
I have spoken about CERN quite a bit on this channel. CERN happens to be a big bad on this channel. Now, if you don't know what a big bad is, basically a big bad is an overarching villain. And CERN is basically one of those overarching villains on this channel, including also the likes of Klaus Schwab and the MFers on the planes. Most of us know that CERN is located in Switzerland, founded by 13 European countries, and there's also rumors that CERN sits upon the Temple of Apollyon. Apollyon is basically the destroyer, destruction, or it's a demon, Abaddon. It is the name of the angel of the abyss, the bottomless pit. We also see CERN's fascination with destruction when it comes to their dances and also their goddess statue that sits inside of CERN. These are supposedly people of science, but they also include weird ritualistic occultism with their practices as well. Just look what they call their findings, their particles. They call them ghosts, specters, gods, demons, devils. Weird terminology again for people of science. And while this may all be connected back to CERN and Europe, did you know that the United States of America has its own version of CERN as well? This version of CERN is called Fermilab, located in Illinois, and their purpose is just like CERN, to find out how the universe began, what secrets do the smallest, most elemental particles of matter hold, and how can they help us understand the intricacies of space and time. Fermilab also works on the world's most advanced particle accelerator and digs down to the smallest building blocks of matter. They are also probing the farthest reaches of the universe seeking out the nature of dark matter and dark energy. Now, if you remember, this is exactly what CERN was doing in April this month. They were firing up their most powerful particle accelerator to date to search for dark matter, dark energy. They were originally supposed to fire up on April 8th, but on their website, the official date was April 5th because they were ahead of schedule. But some believe they still fired up on April 8th or April 9th because the day that they fired up, this massive anomaly was seen in Antarctica on April 9th. And I've made this connection with CERN because back in February 21st, 2024, CERN fired up their particle accelerator again, and this massive anomaly was also seen February 21st in Antarctica as well, the same location. Fermilab also states that they have exactly 2,160 employees, which is a funny number because if you do the multiplication, if you do the addition, you can get the numbers 13, 18, 666. These occultists, they love their numerology, they love their numbers. It couldn't be the simple fact of having over 2,000 employees. No, it has to be specifically 2,160 employees. Fermilab's 6,800 acre site is located in Batavia, Illinois, and is managed by the Fermi Research Alliance, LLC, for the United States Department of Energy Office of Science. FRA is a partnership of the University of Chicago and Universities Research Association Incorporated. This is why mentioning the University of Chicago is very important, because this goes hand in hand with Fermilab. They are working together. Now, while CERN was trying to discover the God particle and other particles, which they eventually found, and now they're looking for this dark energy, Fermilab and the University of Chicago, they were looking for a demon particle, and they actually happened to find this demon. Now listen to how these people of science, the University of Chicago, describes this quote-unquote particle. Like Peter Higgs, who theorized the God particle in 1965, David Pines predicted that a distinct type of plasmon, dubbed a demon, could exist in multi-band metals. Demons are acoustic, electrically neutral, and do not couple to light, meaning they completely oppose light. Fermilab and the University of Chicago also happen to find this demon particle 66 years from the date that it was predicted. The reason why these demon particles are so important is that they can form with any energy and in room temperatures as well, meaning they can possess anything. But they're also important in superconductivity. With this demon particle and superconductivity, this opens doors to bigger and better computers, not personal computers, but bigger and better quantum computers. These same quantum computers that Geordie Rose, and if you do your research, you can find that they are using to discover and explore parallel universes.
But before I do that, I'm going to tell you a little bit about quantum computers and why people care so much about them. There are literally tens of thousands of some of the brightest people in the world today trying to build these machines and understand them. And I'm going to tell you why. In my last 15 years of working on this type of stuff, I found that scientists divide up into two categories of zealots about this field. The first half are people who are absolutely entranced by the physics of these things. This quote is from a respectable scientist, in fact, one of the founders of this field, that may look a little strange to you who don't follow theoretical physics, but there is a very clear prediction that our most successful theory of nature makes, and that is that there are an enormous number, mind-bogglingly large number, of parallel realities, as real as this one, that have different consistent histories. So imagine a world where all of the laws of physics as we know them are obeyed, but different decisions were made along the way. Different decisions at the level of tiny microscopic particles, different decisions all the way up to what you chose to eat for lunch and whether you chose to come to this session or not. Quantum mechanics makes a very specific prediction that all of those are as real as the thing that you remember. And this is bizarre because we don't see those other things. But science has reached the point now where we can build machines that exploit those other worlds. And quantum computers are perhaps the most exciting of all of these that we have within, or almost within, our grasp right now.
Geordie Rose, the founder of D-Wave, or in other words, Demon Wave, has stated, with quantum computers, they have the key to the abyss.
This is what they look like. There are two of them. These are from our lab in Burnaby in British Columbia. From the outside, they look like giant black monoliths, big metal boxes, about 10 feet on a side, 12 feet tall. And they are powered, they have a fridge inside them, a refrigerator that cools these chips to almost absolute zero. Just a wisp, a fraction of a degree above absolute zero. Hundreds of times colder than interstellar space. Amongst the coldest and most isolated and extreme conditions that humans have ever been able to engineer. These fridges, interestingly enough, which are called pulse tube dilution refrigerators, have a thing called a pulse tube, which emits a sound roughly once per second, which sounds eerily like a heartbeat. So if you have the opportunity to stand next to one of these machines, it is an awe-inspiring thing, at least for me. It feels like an altar to an alien god. They really are impressive machines.
CERN also plays a heavy role with this quantum technology as well, but this is more about Fermilab and what's taking place in the United States as they explore and find these demons. As I stated in other videos, CERN in March found a fourth dimensional ghost, a fourth dimensional spirit. And that's not me saying that, that is from the people of science. A higher dimensional particle that CERN states their equipment cannot study yet because it's not powerful enough to study another dimensional being. We don't know if we can believe them or not because guess who will be studying these ghost particles? The United States, Illinois, Fermilab. This study will be under what is known as the DUNE project, and this DUNE project hopes to learn more about these ghost particles which are difficult to study. Again, why are they difficult to study? Because they are ghosts, they are spirits, they are other entities. They do not belong here, but they're bringing them over here. They are not meant to be studied. They are telling you to your face they found entities, but they are labeling them as particles to make it seem like it's just a part of science. Just think how different these articles would sound and come across if they left out the word particle. Let's just say they found spirits, ghosts, demons. But like I said, this DUNE project will do exactly that. This DUNE project taking place in the United States will study these ghost particles, and to do so, the project will beam neutrinos about 800 miles between Illinois and South Dakota. This sounds like it's much more powerful, bigger than what's located at CERN. As we speak, and this article goes back to February 28th, 2024, scientists are building tunnels under South Dakota for a $3 billion experiment that could solve some of the universe's grandest mysteries. This all started about nearly 7 years ago. Crews started hauling 800,000 tons of rock out of former gold mine near Lead, South Dakota. The three resulting underground caverns that are 500 feet long and almost tall enough to hold a 7-story building, estimated to cost at least $3 billion. The Project DUNE Deep Underground Neutrino Experiment is led by scientists at the United States Department of Energy's Fermilab. Eventually, each cavern will hold 17,500 tons of liquid argon to help Fermilab physicists detect elusive particles known as neutrinos, aka ghost particles. Now, here's the funny part. This article states that neutrinos, or ghost particles, are subatomic particles that are all around us, passing straight through us unnoticed. The sun creates them, supernova makes them, even bananas produce neutrinos. They are nicknamed ghost particles because they lack an electric charge and therefore rarely interact with anything they come into contact with. They are everywhere, even the sun produces them, bananas produces them, but they need this $3 billion super collider to study them. Make that make sense. The super collider that's underground that'll send beams from South Dakota to Illinois to study this particle that can be produced by a banana. The same elusive ghost particle that was found in the fourth dimension by Cern that they can't study is simply found being produced by bananas. Fermilab is using the exact same excuse that Cern uses, that they are just doing this to study how the universe works and what happened before and after the Big Bang. It's also not just Fermilab and Cern, but also Japan as well. Japan has what's known as the J-Park, which is also their version of the particle accelerator studying these ghost particles. So yes, it's not just Cern, Europe, Switzerland that's conducting these very bizarre experiments. They're being conducted pretty much in other places of the world. And like I said, here in the United States as well. But I do want to hear from you. What are your thoughts about Fermilab in the United States? Do you think they are also conducting some very bizarre experiments and opening up portals to other dimensions? Please do comment in the comment section below. In any case, thank you so much for watching. If you like this channel and you want to see more, please subscribe. If you're already subscribed, please like, as any engagement does help the channel grow. Once again, thank you so much for your support.